All right. Welcome back. Now in this video, I want to deal with the waste of resources. I didn't want to screw up the algorithm, but I had no choice. I had to be blunt. But that's what these things are before they're anything else. Especially this breed. They're killers first. To kill, that's a complex activity. So to have an instinct to kill, that means that it defines your whole existence. You being a killer, that defines your whole existence. And as killing is its first instinct, aside from killing, its other, I would say, number one instinct, it's an equal instinct, is to eat. Eat. Dogs live for food. A lot of people don't seem to get this. A lot of dog lovers. They don't seem to understand this. They live for food. Food defines their whole existence. It's the only thing that they live for. Food and attacking. Launching physical attacks. So, how much more worthless can you possibly get when the only thing you live for is to obsess over food, gorge, overeat if possible, constantly consume resources on a daily basis? I'm telling you, after 3 days, these things will be emaciated. They don't need to go long without food to become emaciated. And to go without food, all they need to do is be on their own for about 3 days. Let's say in the woods. After 3-4 days, they'll be weak and emaciated because they're too dumb to hunt, too worthless, because they're inbred mutants that don't know how to live in nature like other animals. You drop other animals off in an environment like that, they'll be just fine. So, what do you think, dog lovers? What do you think the dog is preoccupied with? Going to college? Becoming a lawyer, a doctor? When it grows up? They're only preoccupied with food. Their entire relationship with you is all about food. They tolerate you. They come into your home, sit inside of your home without attacking you, because you continuously give them food. Of course, they're going to be tolerant to something constantly forking over food. That's unnatural for animals. What about that don't y'all understand? Specifically for predators. They're not supposed to be given food. That's why eventually they snap and attack you even though you've been giving them food all their worthless life. Because their instinct is to fight over food. Even though these are inbred mutants and not natural, they're still animals and have animal instincts. And they don't care nothing about you. Like I said, they relate to you as a parasite would its host. Because you're doing the same thing. Parasites attach themselves to hosts to obtain resources. You forking over food, that's just a law of nature. It's going to cling to you for food, especially if it's obsessed with food. Largely because it's infested with parasites. But aside from the parasites, look at them. Constantly sniffing. The same dog there nursing back to health, being a vacuum for the earth, trying to sniff out filth and trash and decay. I mean, they look like reservoirs of disease. So, these things are only preoccupied with food. When you are around them, they're trying to sniff all over you, lick your face, begging for food. That's all they do. They sniff you, lick you, and if you don't give them food, they turn away and walk away and start sniffing on somebody else. Y'all think it's being social or... No. And if nobody has food, they'll eventually walk away from all of you and start sniffing the ground, sniffing the wall, and keep sniffing. They might come back to you, sniff you again. Now you believe even more that it's being pro-social. But no. It don't understand what you're saying. It doesn't use English to communicate. It can't relate to you. Can't bond with you on a human level. It's only left with food. Now you keeping them cooped up in these homes, suppressing their instinct to attack, and they eventually attack you. Now look what they've done here. They've nursed this dog back to health to where now it's healthy enough to launch attacks. That's all you've done. You see, that's that same dog right here. Before, it was really too weak to even stand. It's that same dog. Look at it. And it don't take long for them to get like this. It really doesn't. I've read reports, it can take as little as 3 days. No food or water compounds it. And if they have parasites. But a dog in this shape, even if it does launch an attack, I got to question how effective it would be. Right? I don't know, to be honest. I don't have experience with dogs like that. So correct me if I'm wrong. But if they're very emaciated like this, don't they lack the energy and strength to attack? Which is why they don't. They'll just sit there curled up in a ball. Even if strangers walk up right up to them. Yeah. So in this emaciated state that it's in now, it's obsessed with food and launching attacks. Just too starved to do so. So, what is y'all's bright idea to nurse it back into good health? To now make it capable of maintaining y'all's statistics. Y'all's crazy, bizarre, inhumane statistics. There has to be at this point over 10 million bites per year in the US alone. It has to easily be over 10 million. At this point, there's no way. Listen, let me ask y'all a simple question. Is it believable that in every state, across the entire state, that dog attacks have at least doubled since 2010? I would say in every county, in every state, dog attacks have at least doubled since 2010. At least doubled. And these were the statistics in 2010. 4.5 million. There's no way they haven't doubled at this point. Because I'm saying that because in most areas they're saying that it has tripled, quadrupled, and more. So you tell me. I don't even think it's possible. So across the whole country, realistically, statistics are 10 million bites per year. Let's stop kidding ourselves. And this is a big reason why it's double. Because of how now they don't care about a dog's history, even though they say that it could be fatal. That if it's went through any trauma in its past, it could launch an attack for no reason in the future. Which means that if you find a dog somewhere, you should euthanize it. You don't know what it's been through. But they specialize now in nursing them back to health, putting them up for adoption. That's driving attacks. That's helping attacks to increase. That on top of allowing dogs to live after they attack people. One bite rule. Look at this. Now this dog is able to carry on being a mutant, inbred. Look at this dumb, invasive, disrespectful, annoying, invasive, carcass sniffing, anus sniffing, excrement sniffing turd machine that could launch an attack on anybody at any time. And then what? These are the same dogs we read about in these articles. They'll launch an attack on somebody, and then we'll hear that we found that dog in the woods. It was starved. We nursed it back to health and adopted it out. We hear about these same types of dogs all the time, launching attacks on people. And when I say that they attack the innocent, I'm not just talking about young people. The main people, aside from young people, the dogs attack are people like runners, mail carriers, people who are active during their jobs. You know, people who are not involved in criminal activity. So they're not defending anything. If they don't, and understand, young people make up at least 50% of all attack victims. So the other attack victims are primarily runners, cyclists, joggers, walkers, people outside gardening, going to get their mail, doing regular everyday stuff. These are innocent people too, at least in that moment. They could be doing anything inside of their home, but at that moment, they're not doing nothing to warrant being attacked. All these things do is target the innocent. So why should we feel obligated to take care of them? We shouldn't take care of them. Y'all showing these videos off as if it's, something to be proud of. This is what we shouldn't be doing. And it makes us look crazy at the end of the day. This makes us look backwards and primitive. Because no other animal would do this. As soon as any other animal find out that it's a pattern for an invasive species, especially an inferior one, if it's a pattern for them to kill their young, attack their young, to attack them, period, they drive them off. They wipe them out. That's how normal creatures behave. So the fact is, dog lovers might not like it, but the normal thing for us to do would be to get rid of these things. Should have been exterminated them, just like as we exterminate rats and other things. Some people specialize in exterminating rodents. Dogs should be one of them. Anywhere we find them. Dogs should only be something we find when we're clearing out like forest but they wouldn't even survive in no forest. It'd be easy for governments around the world to exterminate these things. It's not like we can force them into nature and they'll be able to strive. There literally ain't nothing else to do. They're not useful for anything. As you can see in this video, all they're doing is consuming. And when they're not, they're begging for more food. And when they're not doing either one of those, they're attacking somebody or sleeping, being worthless, urinating, defecating somewhere, barking, threatening people. They're see, right now, barking, being annoying. Their existence is not about anything else. Everything else is made up. That they save lives, that they're useful for this, useful for that, that they're just like medicine, that they help cure us, help us to be healthy, to be pro-social, come together, lower blood pressure, relieve stress. All that nonsense is made up. All of it. And the truth is they do the opposite of all of that. They increase stress because everybody know that they're killers. So it's crazy how people know the truth, but they ignore it. And they're brainwashed by lies. They still want to pretend these things are harmless babies. That's why they got to make stupid videos like this of them rubbing on them, playing with their legs and paws. Y'all reduce to stupid videos like this to try to help their image. Recording a video of a few seconds long of y'all's life, as if that's supposed to prove something. We already know many of you will have these dogs for years before they end up biting your face off. So no matter what you do or what type of videos or photos y'all share, the evidence is out there of how these things operate. Sometimes they'll attack you, maim you as soon as you acquire them, sometimes much later. If they don't attack anyone, they're still a problem, still annoying, still a waste of resources. These things don't contribute to our society. So if they're not attacking anyone, they're stinking up the house, contaminating the whole environment, outside and in, threatening people nonstop. But again, it's the same dog. Now it's in healthy enough shape to be a physical threat. And these idiots, for whatever reason, they think it's like morally virtuous to put themselves at risk. You know? To give the dogs a chance to maim them or worse. How? That's why y'all make videos and take photos. That's why you show off these things. How? And I'm saying scenarios like this. The dodo and the internet is full of videos like this, where they restore a mutt they found somewhere back to health. That's what they pride themselves on. That and no-kill policies. That's basically the modern era of nuttery, dog culture. No kill and nurse dogs back to health. Right? Dogs that have normally been euthanized, keep them alive. They attack someone, the rule now is to assume someone provoked the dog. Again, that's driving these attacks. The fact that they haven't revealed updated statistics is a part of the con. And look at this thing. Even while it's emaciated, it's being aggressive. It bit that cup that he's using. I don't know what's inside that thing, some type of liquid food. It clamped down on it and tried to take it. Even while it's emaciated. Instinct is still to fight and attack for food and resources. This thing is emaciated with its tail tucked because it knows it's weak and vulnerable. But the man keeps sticking food in its face over and over and over to a parasite infested, food obsessed, inbred mutant. Yeah, that's very effective. It's going to function like a parasite. Something that's full of parasites and in the company of a foreign host providing food, it's going to function like a parasite. It knows no other way to function. That's a natural way to function. Cling to something that's giving you resources. Follow it. Follow it. If it's in an area, sit in that area with it. If it's inside of a home, sit inside of the home.
A dog found
with it. There's nothing magical about the dog being willing to be around you and not attack you. Y'all brag about how they don't attack you. Oh, my dog is never. Who cares? That's still like pathetic company. Keeping company with something that's just there because you keep feeding it. Otherwise, it probably attack you or leave you. Yeah, because you feed it all the time and it's obsessed with food, and the way that it asks or requests for food is to lick you. Yeah, so when you're not feeding it, it's licking on you. And silly you think it's being affectionate. In between you feeding it, right? Think it's being affectionate. I could see how you could be fooled and tricked by that. But why don't you eventually understand it, like the rest of us?
A dog found abandoned and wrapped in a trash bag now has a new home. This is a follow-up for you. We told you back in December about a Lyft driver spotting this dog. It was unable to move because it was tied up in this trash bag. The driver brought the dog to the...
Look at that. Look at that. This is what I'm saying. These are mutants. It's immoral to even keep them on this earth. And remember, these types of dogs have the most physical problems, medical health problems, because they're so mutated. So it's, how unsightly it looks because it's all mutated and inbred. It serves a purpose. It's to let you know there's something wrong with this thing. And when you do a medical examination, what do you know? We discover there is something wrong with it. It's an inbred mutant that shouldn't even exist, that people are artificially inseminating and artificially reproducing. That's immoral.
The Animal Rescue League, where medical teams found he was emaciated, weighing just 23 pounds. He was given IV fluids and placed on a special feeding program. And now, Wally, as he's been named, has a new home. A foster family fell in love with him. They adopted.
Again, some of these dogs that look emaciated or too thin are actually not. We need to understand this. Just look it up. Some dogs that look underweight are actually not. They're just lean and they're just like that. But if a dog is dehydrated, it's more likely to look emaciated. And it only needs to go a few days to become emaciated because they're so riddled with parasites and they're such eating machines. They have to constantly eat to stay at a healthy weight. And that's a huge waste of resources. It's actually crazy how much money is wasted on dogs. We could have been invested in a certain amount to get rid of them. And imagine the money we would have saved by now. If we would have got rid of them, let's say in the year 2000, we'd be a lot better off. All of us.
Adopted him last week. Wally is now healthy with dog friends and lots of soft places to nap. So far, there are no suspects in the case of who abandoned Wally, but we're just glad to know he's now living.
No, I'm not glad to know now you've nursed it back to health where it could attack people, be a nuisance, leech on resources, stink up houses, make it less bearable to be around you and inside your home, around your nasty, annoying, invasive dogs, to act more like a wedge between people, between families, family members. No, What are you happy? Why are you happy about this mutt that y'all have put in someone's home? Give me a good reason. Give me a good reason why we should be happy for this dog or for the people who own it. Why should I look at this as a positive thing? And why shouldn't I look at it as a detriment to the family, the neighborhood, the community in general? Sometimes even you, the morally virtuous owner, sometimes y'all end up getting mutilated.
A better life. And I know we sent a crew.
So even quite often, y'all prove to be the silly party yourselves, the party who suffer a loss. And the most attacked gender is women. Over the past 4 or 5 years has been women. For the first time. Before that, it was always men who were usually attacked, or boys. Now it's women. So we should be happy about that. Now you're in danger, man. You, oh virtuous, morally virtuous dog owner. Okay, if you say so, I'm happy for you now. You know, I might hear about you getting your face bitten off.
To go shoot some video and do an interview with Waller's new family, so we'll have that for you in our later newscast.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Good for all of you. Now's a greater chance we hear about you in the news. Oh, one early Saturday morning, a dog of 3, 4, 5 years suddenly snapped. Never fails. Suddenly snapped. We don't know what happened. We've had that dog for such and such and such and such. Yeah. That's the pattern. There's nothing but bad can come from taking care of these things. We waste resources, money, time. But what do we get from the dog? We invest in anything else, we get something from it. You pay rent, right? You getting a place to live. You invest in gas, auto repairs. You got a vehicle. You got transportation. You invest in clothing. You look good when you go out. Everything else we invest in, we get a positive back. You invest in dogs, what do you get? Nothing but a loss of resources, destroyed relationships, funerals, hospital visits, mutilations, infections. Everything I'm naming makes up the majority of what people get from dogs. And that's in the millions. Bruises. People can't use their finger, lose a finger. They can't move this. This make up the majority of what we get back from dogs. Barking, threats, stench, a patch of grass we can't walk on. Not even with shoes. I'm noticing people don't even like to walk on grass no more, even though they have shoes on. They don't want to track it back into their home. Now we got to focus on walking on cement. It's really because of dogs. And I mean, yeah, play in the grass at your own risk. That's not even a part of people's childhood no more. There's grown people at this point who didn't grow up playing in grass, which I think is something most kids should do. I don't know what it's something about it that connects you to nature, you know? All because of dogs. Look at the attacks. I can't keep up with them. And they're nonstop. Y'all heard about some actor, his dog. He instructed his cane corso to attack a jogger. Some type of reality show actor. His dog attacks nonstop, left and right. That's all we get from these things. Check the news. All the positive articles you see about dogs are made up, imaginary. Articles like this: oh, we nursed the dog back to health. They got to imagine something. But the real thing, oh, you might find therapy dogs, something else that's made up, imaginary. That's another reason why dogs make the news. They're taunted as therapy dogs, which they're not. They increase anxiety and they don't help people do nothing. All the things they claim dogs help people do, they don't help people do. How's a dog gonna help you to read when all it does is serve to distract you from reading? I shared the most recent shared video. Check out that video. I believe Kanan produced that video. He pointed out that you can get better exercise by not owning them. You know how they say dogs can help you get into shape? How? When they only distract you from working out. I want to hear about going on a walk or taking a walk or what? 10, 20-minute walk with a dog? Most of us walk that much in a day anyway. If you got a job, that ain't no huge contributor to physical health. If it is, then why is some 70% of this country overweight? And most of them got dogs. Going on these walks ain't helping these people lose no weight and get in no shape. They eat a cheeseburger before they walk, and when they get home, they have another one. That way they ain't going nowhere. Dogs don't help us do nothing. Don't help cure nothing. Y'all have never heard of nothing that they actually help us do. You might have heard CNI dogs probably get the highest accolades. You know, they are the most complimented. Even a lot of dog culture critics give a pass to CNI dogs. But there's very few people who use them. They're not that popular anyways. And on top of that, they're more effective, safer, easier to manage and maintain alternatives. So there's just no reason for these things to exist at all. And, you know, it really gives you an idea of how bad it can hurt you when you don't manage your resources properly. When you give in to emotions and things you don't need. We could have saved a fortune had we gotten rid of these things in the year 2000 at least. Even 2010. We could have built, there's no telling what we could have built. But we would have saved a fortune. had we not been investing in the production of food, investing in these shelters. Many of these facilities, these shelters cost millions of dollars. These are actual institutions. Man, please. But it's too late now. Dogs are an empire. They're an industry. Gazillion-dollar industry that people are going to always invest in for as long as they possibly can. The only thing is they're going to have to eventually cater to the people who are sick of them, sick of dogs, sick of living in societies that dogs live in. They're going to have to cater to these people eventually. Shout out to all of you able to join me for this live stream. And I hope you can join me on the next as we continue with this crusade.